What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. Today the market is absolutely on fire. I want to go over exactly what is happening with SoFi, go over some of the data points and what to expect next. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, SoFi is up 2.36%. It did have a high of $6.93 and a low, basically first thing right here, of $6.68. What is really driving it higher today is CPI, and of course that is correlated with interest rate cuts. So both on a month over month and year over year basis, it did come in a little bit better than the forecast. So month over month it did come in at negative 0.1 versus a forecast of 0.1, and then year over year 3% versus 3.1. As a byproduct of that, now you do see for the September meeting there is a 84.6% likelihood of a 25% cut. And so that's epic stuff. Yesterday, I believe it was at 70. This was at, I believe, 5. And now there is a 8.1% likelihood of a 50 basis point cut for that. So who knows, especially based on Anthony's recent interview, all he was quoting is 2 rate cuts in 2024. And it does seem as though if we look at the November and December meetings, it kind of looks as though that is going to happen. So it looks like there's going to be another possible 25 basis point cut in November. So I think that is very, very kick-ass. Today there's been no news from SoFi specific, no SEC filings, nothing like that. So today's kind of a very big technical day. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but 39.3 million shares being traded, 31.09 is the average. You do see a lot of transactions occurring associated to institutions. So these are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. One big one first thing, so 3.41. Regrettably though, majority of the transactions being done are sells based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price. So when it comes to algorithmic trading, as I've said, it's kind of piggybacking off of the broader market. So right now it's being told to really push a lot of stocks higher. And this is exactly why it did go to this level here. So the high of $6.93, but it didn't really have enough to stay there. As I said in my pre-market video, in case you guys kind of watched that, I did say, assuming CPI does come in a lot lower, this is where in theory you should see it pushed to possibly the 675-ish range. And lo and behold, this is exactly where we are at right now. So I'm going to go over the technicals, like I said, near the tail end of the video. But starting off with shorts, shorts are returning 1.01 million shares. 17.9% of the free float is being shorted. That works out to be 185.82 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost of borrow average is 0.6, so a little bit lower than the last trading day, so yesterday. You do see also cost of borrow minimum being negative, so there's that broker once again resurging back again. Typically what has happened whenever that does happen, or you see cost of borrow minimum negative, the corresponding next day you see shorts double down. So just kind of be prepared for that. Again, I can't foresee the future. My crystal ball sometimes isn't always accurate, but that's historically what does happen. One thing I did want to kind of explain is how it went from around 18% short interest to 17.9. So NASDAQ did unveil and give out a new report. So as of June the 28th, there was 18.01% of the free float being shorted and 187 million shares overall are being shorted. So what then Ortex does do, and many other platforms, they take this information, calculate it up to today's date, and this is how you do get the new short interest, estimated short interest of 17.9%. So pretty interesting stuff. So in reality, the fact that it is shorts are returning does validate today's green day. So I think that's kind of a good thing behind the scenes. Looking at options activity though, you do see 9.31 million in calls, 1.2 million in puts. So a lot of money is getting into SoFi through options today. 46% of all the options being done so far today are optimistic and bullish. And just to give you a quick overview of the open interest right now for the calls, you do see at that 650 strike price, 24,000 in open interest, and then 31,000 at that 7. So assuming SoFi is able to hold that 650 by tomorrow, then you'll see on Monday market makers buying roughly about 2.4 million shares. So again, that could be very positive. It might cause a nice little spike up, but hopefully the positive momentum from this week will carry forward into next week. So we'll just have to wait and see. But like I already mentioned, this whole day, even though it was largely driven by CPI, the momentum was already, the foundation was there for it to kind of move higher. Just it needed to kind of trade within a set range. So right now with it at $6.73, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So 628 is a strong support. Obviously it hasn't really been touched over the last several trading days, so that's kind of a good thing. On the flip side, $6.75 is going to be that next strong resistance / target that we'll want to watch for SoFi to get above, hopefully tomorrow, because if it does and is able to get above that point, then what I mentioned several days back about the elite wave technicals, where it is projecting for it to be around that 730, that will most likely come to fruition. As you can kind of see, then it would trade within this pivot in this R1. So I think SoFi is definitely on the verge of something big, but then again, it does have manipulation. I know a lot of people are very excited about what has happened with SoFi today, but keep in mind, like I said, just shorts historically, whenever you see that cost to borrow negative, they do double down the following day. So that might be coming and having a lot of suppression around this pivot point. So definitely watch for SoFi to get above this 675. And then aside from that, on the actual chart itself, it is flirting with that 50-day moving average. So it's actually not really past that 50-day moving average successfully for longer than roughly 2 days or something. It looks like at the tail end of February 2024, that's where it lasted a good 5 days above that, then kind of got dragged back down. Bigger picture, like when it does and is able to get above that 50-day moving average, historically it goes up around like 30%. So again, it's kind of on the verge of wanting to break out. It just needs that nice little push, and conveniently it does also have their earnings right around the corner, so that might be that nice push that SoFi needs to get to higher highs. But right now it's kind of just stuck in limbo. On the stochastic, you do see a nice bullish deviation, so white line above the red, plus it is at 55, so somewhat considered neutral, so not really overbought nor oversold. And out of everything though, even though institutions aren't really buying SoFi as much as I would have liked, you do see retail buying. So again, that's kind of a positive thing if that makes sense to you. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Did you buy? Did you sell? What did you do with SoFi? Did you catch the bottom? I don't know exactly why it did sell off first thing. Didn't really make all that much sense, but needless to say, did you guys catch the bottom today, or are you just watching it? In my case, I'm just watching it, enjoying it, and yeah, I'm really happy I did buy the dip. I know sometimes it's scary to buy the dip with SoFi because it keeps on dipping quite a lot, but based on the last several trading days, I think bigger and better things might be coming. But what do I know, right? Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with all that said, appreciate all of you watching.